Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are reporting from Freedom Fest in Las Vegas, Nevada, 2016. This is the exceptional one, Kim McClinton, and we have a very special guest with us, Bob Helms, who is the godfather of real estate. I enjoyed talking with him last year. I have looked forward to him coming on my program. This is that opportunity. Bob, it's a great pleasure, honor to have you on the program.
Ken, great to see you again.
Listen, you're one of the reasons why I love coming back to Freedom Fest. Why do you choose to come to Freedom Fest?
You know, Freedom Fest is so interesting because it's so different from most of the conferences. This is probably our 6th or 7th year that we've been here. The Real Estate Guys is a media group, like all of us in the radio game. And, of course, what we really principally do is help educate investors. So our audience that we aim at are principally real estate investors. Now, we talk about a lot more than real estate.
Yeah.
Freedom Fest talks about everything.
Yeah.
Wow. You meet such a diverse group of people here. And, of course, I think this must surely be the biggest show. I've personally asked visitors this year who are coming here, are you a regular at Freedom Fest? Yeah. 5 or 6 to 1, they're all beginners. They're all first-timers.
Wow.
So there's a huge group in attendance who's never been here before.
Exactly.
I'm sure you saw what I did.
I saw
lots of energy, right?
It was huge this year, and it always seems to get bigger. Bob, you are, as a godfather, a man who's principally responsible for a lot of people getting into the world of real estate legitimately and with great principles. First and foremost, why real estate? And then secondly, why should people invest in it?
Good questions. First of all, real estate for me was almost an accident. I didn't have a divine plan. I was the first guy in my family to graduate from college. Didn't have any mentors, but somehow by accident bought the first property, and it went from there. By the time I bought that first property while I was an engineering student at San Jose State University, so I was still a student. My wife's working in the bookstore. I'm going to school on the GI Bill, and we bought a weekend retreat up in the mountains because it was cheap.
Yes.
And one of the major lessons I'll share with everybody who's an investor, I'm a buy and hold investor, but I learned that lesson late. What I wish is that I still had every property I'd ever bought, because there's not that there aren't legitimate reasons to get rid of them, but it makes so much sense. If you hold them, Mark Twain said it great. He said, don't wait to buy real estate. Buy real estate and wait.
There you go. Absolutely principled. Listen, you have 2 events that are coming up, and I want people to really support what you're doing, because you're not one of these fly-by, late-night, come with me, let me show you how to do this, and you can flip a house. You're showing people how to create and preserve wealth, and that's something that just can't be illuminated at a 30-minute conference or some type.
Well, the real estate guys, of course, I'm really not a real estate guy. I'm an honorary real estate guy. My son Robert and his partner Russell Gray are the real estate guys. The show's been around for 20 years. In fact, when Robert got out of college, I'll tell an out-of-school story. Robert had a job with a radio station because he was a radio TV minor, and all his buddies were involved in radio or television. But I desperately needed him on a new housing development I was doing, so I managed to convince him it would be smart to come to work for me. I would pay him more, and I needed him a lot more. Well, he did an amazing job, and he became captive. He never quite got away from it. He did, however, get his radio show organized. That show has now been on the air for 20 years, reaches 194 countries, and is the #1 downloaded real estate show in the world typically. So we feel like the real estate guys are educators. They've written a great book for investors called Equity Happens, and their working their working plan is simply education for effective action. So nothing happens until you take action, but you need to be educated or you will be an unguided missile who will cruise into the side of the mountain. So,
and lose everything.
It's about education. That's
it's
the
all
game.
About education. Bob Helms is with us from the Real Estate Guys. and he is a godfather of real estate, no less. And it's just a great honor to have you with us again.
Thanks, Ken. Great to be here.
But you have the 15th Annual Investor Summit at Sea, and also the Belize Discovery Trip that are coming up. Give us some quick information about that and how people can contact you and support.
Well, let me tell you about the field trips because they're recurring. They're ongoing all the time. The Summit at Sea, as we call it, is our highest event. We're aiming at the best audience. We're aiming at the best material. And, of course, we try to have the best possible faculty we can get. So the field trips we do in many areas, and we do them regularly, and they're about having an opportunity to introduce investors to marketplaces. So we do field trips in Dallas, Atlanta, Memphis, Florida, and Belize currently. But we're always moving that around in terms of what looks like it's topical and what works. So the important thing about our field trips, they're not fly-and-bys. They're not press hard for copies. They're about education, but you'll get a chance to learn how a marketplace ticks, what it's about. What we really teach investors, going back a step, is to develop a personal investment philosophy. What does that mean? If you don't have a philosophy, if you don't understand how you're going to start the business, where you're going to start the business, what assets it takes, if you're not prepared, anything will look good to you. If you instead figure out, one, what marketplace do I want to be in, what types of properties are of interest, what's a fit for me, if I figure out how to get started, my chances of success are far better.
Far better.
Yeah.
You got the Belize Discovery Trip, 1-888-489-7723 for registration. You also have the Summit at the Sea. You had Mark Skousen there. You had
Yes.
A great many great minds. Peter Schiff, G. Edward Griffin, Brian Ludin. This is just awesome.
Well, they're kind of a who's who of the people that are at this event and are at most of the events that we look at. Even though we're, quote, real estate guys, and that's our personal focus, the people who come on this ship are talking about gold, they're talking about oil, they're talking about all what we'd call real assets or solid assets, not derivatives.
Exactly.
But stuff that you can invest in that maybe makes some sense. And we get a lot of viewpoints, and we get a pretty balanced itinerary. We pick, I'll tell you this, the cruise takes place in the Caribbean. The one coming up this year will be in April 1st, 2017 is the next cruise. It will depart from Galveston, and we'll visit Cozumel, Belize, and Roatan. And so it's a different itinerary every year. And we pick a cruise that has 2 or 3 or 4 days at sea so we can keep you trapped in the boiler works getting education while we're going from port to port.
Learn and relax, relax and learn.
Yes,
there we
sir.
are. Bob Helms, who is the godfather of real estate. Can you tell everyone how they can get in contact with you?
Yeah, I'm available. The easiest way is my email address. It's bob@realestateguysradio.com. And we're always interested in talking to investors and seeing what we can do to help.
Bob, thank you so much. It's
Again,
always
great to see you.
Good seeing you.
Thank you.
Bob Helms, who is the godfather of real estate, the founder of the Real Estate Guys. You need to get in contact with him, follow up, and play this podcast again. Give it out to your friends so that they might be able to establish great wealth. God bless you. We're listening to SHR Media, the headquarters here at Las Vegas, Nevada's Planet Hollywood, where we are being hosted by Freedom Fest 2016. We'll be right back with more right after this.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.